a part-timing fake-ass bitch.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
What's good, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco. You know what it is. It's Philly the podcast. So today we are going to talk about something that I feel a lot of Eagles fans and a lot of people in general are kind of putting by the wayside, you know? And that's obviously our wide receiving core. You know, Carson Wentz has had a rough go the first 3 weeks, but it's hard to really analyze your quarterback when you're not giving him the weapons. So with that said, we do hear that Alshon Jeffery is kind of on the mend. He's about 40%. We got from Chandler Jackson on the previous video. He said he's about 40% for this week, but he'll bet money that he'll be back for the Steelers. So my question to you is, what do you think Alshon and what do you hope Alshon is going to bring to this offense that's going to kind of give us a little bit of a kick?
Yeah, I mean, with Alshon, you get a big body receiver, the big body receiver that we thought JJ Arcega-Whiteside was going to be. Granted, he hasn't been the healthiest. Last year, he had his shoulder thing at the beginning of the season, so he was out 4 games. Then he's out the beginning of this season. So even with all that, Carson does target Alshon a good amount of times. I mean, in the 23 games they've played together, he's targeted him about almost 8 times a game, like 7.8 times a game, something along those lines. So he's getting the targets when it comes to with Alshon, and you get the. It's not like Alshon's going to beat you deep. That's not what Alshon's game is. What he's going to do, he's going to be able to find those spots between the zones on the slant routes and maybe even like a skinny post, so he can get right there in that in the section between like a linebacker and safety and all that, and you could throw it up high, and his catch radius is insane. So I think what we're getting out of him is someone kind of like a rebounder, someone that we can just toss it up to real quick and get those quick, easy first downs that we're missing right now, because we keep trying to throw it deep. We're trying to get these big plays with these smaller wide receivers, but if we can get Alshon to get in those sweet spots and just kind of, even if Carson is inaccurate, if it's a little high, Alshon can get up to those. So
yeah, like you said, they did the experiment with J-Jaw. It's failing miserably. He's now hurt. Desean Jackson's now hurt. Look, I mean, Alshon is a big part of our offense. Like you said, he's not the guy that's going to burn you over the top. He's done that a couple times, but what he's best at is what we've been trying to do with John Hightower. And John Hightower has done a good job of getting open. It's just that at the catch point, it's either a bad thrown ball or, he's just not fighting for the ball strong enough. But he's been able to kind of do what Alshon has, what we've been missing with Alshon, which is get those underneath routes and make them have to bite underneath. But it's not Alshon. And like I said in the beginning, like, it's hard to really, really paint this picture of what Carson Wentz is right now when he doesn't have the weapons. Yes, he has, Zach Ertz, but Desean Jackson is basically not even out there right now. He hasn't really had an impact. Jalen Reagor, when he was playing, he had, I want to say 8 targets in both games, if I'm not mistaken. He caught like 4 passes in both games. So, we're trying. Quez Watkins, I think, is going to be out as well. Yesterday, it was down to Greg Ward, the man that I feel is just constantly disrespected, constantly forgotten about. You know what I'm saying? So Desean Jackson's out. What do you think that our wide receiver core is going to look like? What do you think it's going to look like without Desean Jackson out there?
yeah, I mean, without Desean Jackson, it's going to be a bunch of younger guys, and especially if we're talking about like this week without Alshon as well. So you're going to have younger receivers, which, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I mean, this is their chance to, against a 49ers defense that's solid but banged up as well, to really kind of hopefully build up more chemistry with Wentz. Wentz might start feeling comfortable, especially if they're making the plays. Like, the one thing that we're missing is kind of like those big plays from smaller chunks of yards. Dak Prescott was able to hit a dude named Wilson. I've never even heard of him on a slant route, and he's taken them to the house. We haven't seen that for us yet. They've been catching the slant routes, but then they're getting tackled right away. So hopefully, maybe with like John Hightower's breakaway speed and all that, maybe it'll be cool to see maybe our wide receivers do something like that.
No, yeah, I agree 100%. Listen, we have to. It's not giving Carson Wentz a pass. It's not saying Carson Wentz, he has nobody out there. He's doing all himself. He's hurting the team just as much as he might be helping us. I think the Cincinnati game was a perfect depiction of what Carson Wentz has been doing the past 5 years. He'll make great plays. He'll get you back in the game. That last touchdown drive to tie the game at the end of the game, I should say, was really like what Carson Wentz can be. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of those other plays is what Carson Wentz is. And it's frustrating because you see the glimpses of greatness, but you do need to surround him with somebody. He needs something,
And I feel like he's pressuring the ball. Like when DJAX is healthy, he's like trying to pressure him the ball. Like I think last year he threw the ball DJAX way. Granted, it's only been 3 games, but this year's only been 3 games. So you're kind of looking at the same time frame. Last year he threw it his way 10 times, and Desean was able to catch 9. So that's pretty good. That's 90%. Whereas this year he's thrown the ball to him 20 times, but only 10 of them have hit. So I mean, I feel like that's because he doesn't have, that's a huge drop, and maybe that's part of his accuracy. I know he missed a couple big plays to Desean that could have been huge in the earlier games this year, but that just goes to show that he doesn't really trust those younger wide receivers yet. And hopefully maybe this game where he's forced to, where there's no DJAX, there's no Alshon, now he's going to be forced to rely on the younger guys. And he's probably going to put a lot of Greg Ward, throw it a lot his way on shorter routes.
I really feel like this is going to be the game that Doug is going to, remind everybody that he can coach. Because he's going to have to. He's going to have to be very creative. He's going to have to figure out, it sucks seeing it, because last year I feel like you saw some of Doug's best coaching and you saw some of Carson Wentz's best playing towards the end of the year when we lost everyone. So it's like, does it really take that for you guys to kind of get that spark under you? You know what I'm saying? You hope not. But Chandler was talking about Travis Fulgham. I know we're going to have Deontay Burnett probably active. Like you said, Greg Ward's going to get sprinkled in there a lot. Desean Jackson isn't completely ruled out, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. So I listened to a press conference. I don't think he practiced today, but they were rehabbing him today in order to possibly go Sunday. So, I mean, I guess it's going to be a feel thing.
Yeah, so we got to hope. And like you said, the San Francisco 49ers are pretty banged up. I'm hoping we get Mullens. Not 100% sure about that. But, they're banged up, and we have to take advantage of it. I think this is another game, kind of like the Bengals game, that it's not going to say much about our team unless we go out there and, blow them the heck out the water. But, we need the win. It is what it is. It might feel, as much as it feels like we're 0-3, we are not 0-3.
Right.
So, all those 0-3 stats, they technically do not apply to us. So, we still have some glimmer of hope. So we have to do it. So, in general, did this period, I should say, taking in last year's run into account and then now these first 3 games, were we as Eagles fans a little bit premature on the whole get Alshon out of here, we don't need him, this and that? Are we kind of biting our words right now, eating our words right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. We have to admit that we did. We want him out mostly because he's been injured, and then on top of that, with the rumors of him being the guy that was talking bad about Wentz to the media instead of keeping it in house, and maybe even, I mean, Alshon's older than him. Go up to him, talk to him, tell him what's up. Be real. Just because he's the quarterback, that doesn't mean you cannot not be real, especially if you're technically the number 1 wide receiver on the team. Yeah. So, with that being said, when we're looking at the team now, we're missing him. We're missing that big body receiver that other teams have. We just don't have it right now. JJ is not the answer. Ertz, I mean, he's kind of like a big body, but we need someone on the outside. Goddard's cool, but he's hurt too. So we do need Alshon. Hopefully, a healthy Alshon that wants to try and play hard.
And that's the thing too. And I think a big thing that we're lacking as well is leadership. Desean Jackson and Alshon, even though you're sideline, man, I would love to see some pictures of you guys talking to these rookies. I would love to see some videos of you guys, hanging out at practice with these rookies and trying to really get into their head and everything. Like
Right.
at the end of the day, we're as good as our weakest man. You know what I'm saying? Especially the Eagles. I feel like that saying rings the truest for the Eagles with the depletion of just position groups that we face. Like it feels like every year. So it's a whole bunch of things, but yeah, we definitely need Alshon back, and we definitely need DJAX at least like 80% because right now he's just.
And like to piggyback on what you were just saying, is like, have you seen any of the offensive players really like kind of step up as leaders on the sideline? Like I know Brandon Graham at times, like we see things of him saying like trying to get everyone hyped up and stuff. But have you really seen any offensive player kind of stepped up?
It seems like they're just kind of going through the motions at this point. You know what I mean? And it makes you question everything. So it's like, I know Eagles fans especially, we jump the trigger very easily. You know what I'm saying? We like to, once we have a bad couple games, it's fire everybody. But especially with no fans, man, you're seeing the body language. You're seeing how these people act. You're seeing, you're more in tune with how the players are behaving. You know what I'm saying? And just watching it as a fan and as a person, as a man, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can tell that things are not good. Something's wrong. It's deeper than just, you know what I'm saying, one player. That's why a lot of times, we were just having this conversation. A lot of times, people bring up, oh, we got to trade for this person, that person. I think it's so far deeper than just, you know what I'm saying, getting better at a position group other than linebacker, because
we could use at least one or two,
we could,
or plug in the rookies.
Exactly, and that's the biggest thing, I mean, wide receiver wise, to keep on the Alshon and DJAX train, you need to see them at least help these rookies, at least develop these rookies, because I want to do a video about this. We'll maybe do it like Saturday, or maybe we'll talk about it Sunday on Sports Talk Live at 11:30. Plug. But I want to talk about really the development that's been going on with the Eagles for the past 3 or 4 years, which is really non-existent. So you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to see that happen with the wide receivers. We have talent, especially like you said, Quez Watkins, John Hightower, Jalen Reagor. We have talent at the position, and Greg Ward. We have to groom these guys. We have to make them. And you notice how I didn't say JJ, I say the Whiteside.
Well, we just picked up that new kid. I already forgot his name.
Hakeem Butler.
Tight end. Yeah, Hakeem Butler. Like if you look at his highlights in his combine, I mean, he was pretty solid, and he ran, I think, the 40 in like a 4.49 range. So I mean, he's pretty fast, and he can make spectacular catches. I know they were saying he was injured at his rookie year, and he's kind of bounced around a little bit. And I think this is his second year in the league. But that's another one that, like, if you can develop these players and develop these wide receivers, maybe they can be better than other teams. Like I don't know. Like,
yeah, you got to get the worth out. Excuse me. You got to get the worth out of these guys. They're young players. They're cheap players, and right now we don't have the money. We don't have the time to really wait 2 or 3 years for people to start panning out. They have to, however Stoutland gets the most out of our offensive line, we need him to teach our wide receivers coach or whatever coach is, because we have 15 of them on the offense. But we have to get development out of these guys. So with that said, I want to switch over a little bit, just do a quick little overview of Sunday. Obviously, we'll go deeper Sunday, but I want to get like maybe 3 keys to victory for you. What do you think the Eagles have to do in order to beat the San Francisco 49ers?
I think we need to, stick with the run game. Miles Sanders has been basically averaging 5 yards a carry. Like, he's looked great. I understand that you want to keep him healthy. I understand that you don't want to overdo it, but he's a running back. He plays this position. He wants to be the workhorse. He wants to be first, second, third down back. So treat him that way. Give him the ball more. Be creative. Disguise these screenplays. Like, don't make it so obvious that everyone knows they're running a screenplay. Look at other people's film. Look at your boy Andy Reid's film. He's always disguising the screens every which way, and it's pretty cool to watch. Especially, I think Patrick Mahomes had one last week where he threw an underhand to the fullback on the screen, like at the goal line. Like that, it was dope. Like things like that. Those are things that we can pick up on and use. So try to be creative. And if we're gonna do short game, make sure they're hiding the screens. And then we're gonna have to put it on the defense. Defense is gonna have to stop the run. San Fran loves to run the ball. Deebo Samuel, I think, is playing this weekend, and that's a wide receiver that they use basically like a running back. So we need to make sure we're stopping the run and then getting pressure on Nick Mullens. I mean, we shouldn't be scared of Nick Mullens. This should be a game.
Is he going to be for sure the starter?
I mean, when they were asking Doug Pederson questions about if you're preparing for both either Jimmy G or Mullens, he was like, well, you can prepare for either or because they're similar players. It's not like Nick Mullens is Michael Vick and where you're doing two different type of quarterbacks. So, but I mean, either way, like Jimmy G is not this like crazy quarterback talent that we need to really fear. It's that running game and creativity, kind of like the Rams. We better not play man to man all game.
Yeah, facts. Even with their running game, they're down a couple of players. I mean, we'll see if Deebo Samuels goes. I know they're down a couple of running backs.
I think it's Mostert hurt.
Yeah, Mostert's hurt from the Eagles, but you know, it is what it is. Like they, you know, and even their defensive line, you know, has a couple people on IR, but they do have people like Deion Jordan. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah,
the old Oregon Duck. Yeah, the old Oregon Duck that the Eagles were tied to so much. But he's even doing well. You know, he's even having a little bit of a resurgence over there. So, you know, for me, it really comes down to I have to bite your one of your answers, and it's the creativity. Offensively, I need to see you use every piece that we have on the chessboard. You know, we have to make sure that everybody's getting a touch that they can't predict, like, oh, this is what they're going to do next, because that's what we've been doing,
right?
Especially offensively, it's like you know exactly what's going to happen. I can sit there and watch and just be like, oh, it's about to be this play. You know what I'm saying? It's so predictable at this point. So we need to change it up. We need to maybe throw in some quick tempo, fast tempo. But yeah, definitely stick to the running game. I definitely agree with that. And then two, I need our defensive line to go crazy, especially if we're going against Nick Mullens. We need to let him know that he's not a starter in the NFL.
Right.
Like we cannot let him he kind of made the Giants look silly.
Yeah.
So, you know, we can't do that.
He has a couple good games under his belt. I think he played a little bit last year or the year before. I forget which year it was.
He's a solid quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, he did. He had like a couple 300-yard games. He's a solid quarterback. And I'm hearing some people in San Francisco land talking about, you know, just keeping him in when Garoppolo comes back. That would be hilarious. But, you know, at the end of the day, we have to treat him like he's a backup because that's what he is. You know, so we have to play, especially our defensive line, they have to play at the top of their game. And then three, hate to say it again, but I need Carson to come out and ball, man. I need Carson to come out and ball. You know, and it doesn't even mean 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. It means no interceptions. Yeah. It means, you know, the running that we saw last game, let's see that again. Let's see you getting on the outside of the pocket. And I'm going to kind of marry that last one with JP. I need JP to remember that he's a left tackle. Like, that's pretty important.
That was embarrassing last week.
Yeah, really bad.
And then after he's getting beat all game, he's hurt. It's like that seemed like a defeat thing. Like
seriously, like my ankle, dog, my ankle. Yeah, like bro, that was like a Madden injury if I ever saw it. He was walking out like I don't feel good.
Nah, this ain't my game. Like when Nelson couldn't get that catch, and like after he didn't catch, he grabbed his knee. He's like, oh
yeah, no, this is it, man. I'm feeling it. Like bro, I'm not trying to deal with that. We need everybody to just wake up. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they've been sleeping these first 3 games, but. This is it, man. This is about as must win as it can get.
Yeah.
There's really no way around it.
I agree.
But so quick little announcement. So tonight I will be on Niners All Day channel at 10 p.m. Eastern. They'll be going live. I'll have the description or the link in the description, I should say. So be sure to come, say what up to your boy. Don't let me be the only Eagles fan in there because I ain't trying to be lonely. They gonna attack me, y'all.
They might. I mean, what are they gonna say?
What are they not gonna say?
We're pretty nice to the guests that come on that have been Dallas and Redskin fans.
Yeah, we need some
Washington fans. My bad. Nah, just we need to win and see you guys on Sunday.
Heck yeah, man. But y'all know what time it is. Oh, yeah, and I got a haircut. I had to throw that in there. But other than that, you know what time it is. It's fly, Eagles fly, and we out here. Peace.